Fire officials are providing an update to a fire that happened yesterday in the McLaughlin and Sandalwood Parkway area of Brampton. Let's listen in live.
Did locate the house to be fully engulfed, and with the valiant effort of first responders, the fire was successfully put out. Due to the extensive structural damage of the premise, the Ontario Fire Marshal's office did enlist the aid of an excavation contract to assist with the investigation. Unfortunately, earlier this morning, what is believed to have been human remains was discovered within the premise. The Peel Regional Police Homicide and Missing Persons Bureau has retained carriage of this investigation and will be working very closely with the Ontario Fire Marshal's office as well as the Coroner's office to determine the cause of this incident. Anyone with information on this incident is urged to call members of the Regional Police Homicide Bureau. This is a densely populated area. There's likely to have been a number of persons in the area at around 1:30 p.m., as well as perhaps passersby with dashcam footage and residents that might live in the area with Ring doorbell footage, and we are urging for the community's cooperation in this investigation. We understand that incidents like this have a profound impact on our community, and we want to assure all that all investigative steps will be taken to ensure a proper investigation. I'll now pass the podium over to Fire Chief Bill Boys of the Brampton Fire Services, and we will then open this up to questions briefly. However, I would just like to remind everyone that this is a very fresh and current ongoing investigation, so details will be limited at this time. Chief?
Thank you. Good afternoon. First off, I want to extend my sincerest condolences to everyone that has been impacted by this fire today. I know it's difficult in the community when we see so many fire trucks and police cars around. I empathize with everyone in this community, and I want to also commend our firefighters. The scene that they were faced with yesterday was an extremely difficult fire. The home behind us was fully involved. It spread to an adjacent home. Our firefighters were able to initiate an aggressive attack and extinguish the fire at the home on Van Kirk, but also concurrently enter the home on Big Sky and extinguish that fire before it spread into any other home. So I really want to acknowledge our heroic efforts in such a difficult circumstance. If you've seen the videos online, you see what the firefighters were faced with, and they did an incredible job. I want to also acknowledge our colleagues with Peel Regional Police and the Office of the Fire Marshal that are leading the investigation here. We turned over the scene yesterday at approximately 6 p.m. to the Office of the Fire Marshal, who is now working, as you can see, with Peel Regional Police on the investigation. I'll turn it back over to yourselves for questions.
Chief, you said human remains. How many bodies?
I'll speak to that only because the Peel Regional Police Homicide Bureau is in carriage of that investigation. Again, given how current and recent this discovery was, this is a very active investigation, and we are still looking into the discovery, so we're unable to comment any further at this time. However, we will be working collaboratively with the Coroner's Office and the Office of the Fire Marshal to determine that.
Are there any members of the household that were able to escape?
That's going to be part of the investigation, and again, I'm limited as to how much information I can get into on the occupants of the premise, but that will be part of the investigation.
So when you say that there was at least one, there was at least two, are you looking at several people? Are you looking at as many as three, as many as? Can you give us an indication so we know exactly what we're dealing with to a point?
It is too early for us to speak to the number of occupants within the premise or anyone that could be associated to the premise, and that will be part of the investigation. So unfortunately, I can't speak to that. However, again, we will be working collaboratively with all our agency partners to determine that information.
Is it a criminal investigation?
I beg your pardon?
It's a criminal investigation.
This is currently a criminal investigation, hence the reason why our Homicide and Missing Persons Bureau has retained carriage of this.
I don't know if you can speak to this. Neighbors are saying they heard and felt a loud bang. So what exactly do you surmise happened? This wasn't like a fire in the kitchen by the sounds of it. So what are we looking at?
That's going to be part of the investigation to determine what was perhaps heard by passersby or residents in the area. Obviously, a house fire can be a very dynamic situation with materials perhaps in the house that happen to be flammable. So it's too early for us to determine that. And again, it'll be a joint investigation with the Fire Marshal's office, which will bring things to light that can perhaps explain things that were heard by residents in the area.
There's no preliminary theory as to
There's likely to be a number of theories in place. However, it's too early for us to speak to those theories given how recent and current these discoveries are. We'll conclude questions at this time. Thank you very much.
All right, we have been getting an update in Brampton of the house fire that took place yesterday. And to recap what we just heard from officials there, the house was fully engulfed at the time of the blaze, and it even spread to an adjacent house as well. As Brampton Fire worked tirelessly to get it under control. Now, this morning, they confirmed that human remains were found at the premise. And at this point, the missing persons as well as the Office of the Fire Marshal have taken over this investigation. They are also urging for community assistance on this, perhaps anyone that has dash cam footage in the area or perhaps Ring video footage to help piece together what may have transpired before the start of the fire. We heard from Fire Chief from Bill Boyce, who said that details were limited at this time, but they did confirm that at this point it is a criminal investigation.